Welcome to Hot Soup Stories. They never called her when things were going well. They called her when deadlines collapsed, when plans failed, when tempers flared and someone needed to quietly clean up the mess without asking for credit. Her phone would light up with familiar names, family, colleagues, friends, and each time, the same sentence followed in different voices. Can you just help this once? Her name was Anya. At least that was the name people used when they needed something. The rest of the time, she was too quiet, too serious, not confident enough, or worse, conveniently invisible. From childhood, Anya learned a simple rule. If you solved problems fast enough, people stopped blaming you for existing. Her parents relied on her but praised her younger brother. Her teachers assigned her responsibility but rewarded louder students. Her friends borrowed her notes, her time, her emotional labor, then laughed when someone else mocked her. Publicly, she was the punchline. Privately, she was the solution. At office meetings, her manager interrupted her ideas, only to repeat them 5 minutes later in his own words. Everyone applauded him. Later, he'd stop by her desk, lowering his voice. Good thinking earlier. You saved us. Saved them, not herself. Once, during a company presentation, a senior colleague blamed a critical error on Anya. She stood there, frozen, as laughter rippled across the room. Her face burned. She swallowed the truth because she always did. That night, her phone buzzed. Senior colleague. I'm sorry about today. I panicked. You know how it is. Anya typed back a single word. Okay. She always said okay. Because if she didn't, people got uncomfortable. And if people got uncomfortable, she became the problem. Over time, Anya became their backup plan. If a project was failing, she was added last minute. If a family crisis erupted, she was called at midnight. If emotions ran high, she became the listener, the absorber, the fixer. She was never the first choice, but she was always the safest one. No one worried about losing her. The humiliation became routine. At family gatherings, relatives joked about her being too available and still unmarried. Laughter followed, sharp and careless. Her mother would smile awkwardly, her father would pretend not to hear. Later, in the kitchen, someone would squeeze her arm gently. They didn't mean it, you know that, right? An apology wrapped in dismissal. At work, her boss once joked loudly, Anya doesn't have a life anyway, she'll stay late. Everyone laughed. Anya stayed late. She told herself she was strong, that this was just how the world worked, that being useful was better than being ignored. But usefulness is a dangerous bargain. Because the moment you stop being useful, people treat you like a betrayal. The first real crack appeared on a rainy Thursday evening. Anya had just reached home after a 14-hour workday when her phone rang again. Her manager's name flashed across the screen. She stared at it. Something inside her, small but sharp, refused to move. She remembered standing in that conference room. She remembered the laughter. She remembered the apology that came only when no one else was watching. The phone kept ringing. She didn't answer. 10 minutes later, a message arrived. Manager. Urgent, client issue, call me. Her chest tightened. Her fingers hovered. This was the moment where she usually gave in. But exhaustion pressed down on her like weight. Not physical, something deeper. A tiredness that had been building for years. She typed slowly. I can't tonight. 3 simple words. Her phone went silent. No apology. No understanding. Just silence. For the first time, Anya noticed something unsettling. The world didn't collapse. The next morning, whispers floated through the office. The client meeting had been a disaster. Someone else had tried to fix the issue. They failed. People glanced at Anya, curiosity mixed with something unfamiliar, unease. At lunch, a coworker leaned over. You could have helped yesterday. Anya looked up calmly. I wasn't asked respectfully. The coworker blinked, confused. almost offended. That was new. Later that day, her manager called her into his cabin. His tone was softer than usual, almost cautious. "You know we depend on you," he said. "Why didn't you answer?" Anya met his eyes. "Because I'm not an emergency service." The room felt suddenly too quiet. He laughed awkwardly. "Don't be dramatic." But his smile didn't reach his eyes. That evening, her mother called. "Your aunt said you were rude at the last function." Anya closed her eyes. "I just didn't laugh." A pause, then a sigh. "You should learn to adjust. People talk." People always talked. Later, her brother messaged her, asking for help with paperwork. Anya read it, then placed her phone face down. For the first time, she felt something strange and terrifying. Relief. Within days, small chaos began blooming everywhere. Tasks she once handled effortlessly piled up. Mistakes multiplied. Deadlines slipped. People grew tense. They started saying her name more often. "Where's Anya? Did Anya check this? Ask Anya." But this time, they weren't saying it with confidence. They were saying it with fear. Because the backup plan wasn't responding anymore. And deep down, they all sensed the same thing. If Anya stopped saving them, they would have to face what they never wanted to admit. They had never valued her. They had only relied on her silence. And silence, once broken, is impossible to control again. Anya used to believe that if she stayed quiet long enough, the world would eventually become kinder. She was wrong. The moment she stopped filling the gaps, the world didn't soften, it panicked. Monday morning arrived with a strange tension in the air. The office buzzed louder than usual, voices sharp, footsteps hurried. Anya walked in, placed her bag down, and turned on her computer like any other day. No dramatic announcement. No confrontation. Just restraint. At 10:15 a.m., her manager's assistant rushed over. "Anya, can you quickly review the client proposal? They need it in an hour." Anya looked up slowly. "When was it finished?" "Last night." "And when was I supposed to be told?" The assistant hesitated. "Well, usually you just..." Anya smiled politely. "I don't usually do last-minute rescues anymore." The assistant stared, mouth slightly open, as if Anya had spoken in a foreign language. "But what should I tell them?" "The truth," Anya replied, "that it wasn't planned well." The assistant walked away in silence. For years, Anya had carried everyone's urgency like it was her own failure. Today, she let it fall where it belonged. The backlash came faster than she expected. By noon, her manager summoned her again. "You're being difficult lately," he said, fingers tapping impatiently on the desk. "This isn't like you." Anya folded her hands. "You mean this isn't useful?" His jaw tightened. "We're a team." She nodded. Then teams plan together. They don't dump responsibility on one person and mock her for being available. His face flushed. "You're overthinking." Anya stood up. "And you're underestimating how tired I am." She walked out before he could respond. People stared. Not because she was loud, but because she wasn't apologizing. That evening, the calls began again. Her aunt needed help organizing a family event. Her cousin wanted her to mediate a fight. Her brother asked if she could just handle it like always. Anya didn't answer immediately. She cooked dinner slowly. She ate without checking her phone. She sat by the window, listening to the rain, feeling time stretch in a way it never had before. When she finally picked up her phone, there were 17 missed calls. She typed one message into the family group chat. "I won't be managing things anymore. Please plan among yourselves." The typing bubbles appeared instantly. "What do you mean? Are you upset? Don't create drama." Drama. That word again. Anya muted the chat. Her hands trembled, not from fear, but from the unfamiliar weight of choosing herself. The next family gathering was the breaking point. Without Anya coordinating, everything unraveled. Food arrived late. Guests argued. Someone blamed someone else. When Anya walked in, silence followed her. Her uncle laughed awkwardly. Our manager is here. She smiled. No, just a guest today. Her aunt whispered sharply, You embarrassed us last time. Anya met her gaze calmly. You embarrassed yourselves. Gasps followed. Later, her mother pulled her aside, voice shaking. Why are you acting like this? People are talking. Anya's voice was gentle but firm. They were always talking. I was just too busy fixing things to hear them. Her mother had no answer. At work, the consequences grew visible. A report went out with errors Anya would have caught instantly. A client complained. Meetings ran overtime because no one summarized efficiently. For the first time, Anya watched the chaos without stepping in. It was uncomfortable. It was painful. It was necessary. A coworker cornered her near the elevator. You're letting everyone fail, he said accusingly. Anya replied, No, I'm letting everyone learn. Late that night, her manager finally called again. This time, his voice was different, controlled, careful. We need you, he said. Things are not smooth. Anya leaned back against her couch. You always needed me, she said softly. You just didn't respect me. A pause. We can talk tomorrow, he said. No, Anya replied. You can listen tomorrow. She ended the call. Her heart pounded, not with guilt, but with something dangerously close to freedom. For years, Anya believed she survived because she endured. But now she realized the truth. She had survived despite enduring. And somewhere between ignored calls and unfinished tasks, a terrifying realization began to spread among the people who once depended on her. They didn't know how to function without the girl they never valued. And Anya. She was finally learning how to live without being needed. The chaos didn't arrive all at once. It seeped in quietly, like water through unseen cracks, slow at first, then unstoppable. By the second week of Anya's absence from her usual role as the invisible fixer, the office no longer felt merely tense. It felt unstable. Meetings dragged on without conclusions. Emails circled endlessly without decisions. People spoke over one another, each waiting for someone else to take responsibility. That someone had always been Anya. Now, her desk remained disturbingly calm. She arrived on time. She left on time. She completed only what was assigned to her, no more, no less. And that restraint unsettled everyone. The first major collapse happened on a Tuesday afternoon. A long-term client abruptly withdrew from a project, citing poor coordination and inconsistent communication. The news spread like wildfire. In the emergency meeting that followed, voices rose. Who handled the final review? Why wasn't this caught earlier? I thought someone checked the timeline. All eyes drifted, almost instinctively, toward Anya. She sat there quietly, pen still, expression neutral. Her manager cleared his throat. Anya, did you? She looked up. No. One word, clean, final. The room froze. But this is your area, someone protested. It used to be, she replied evenly, before responsibilities were redistributed. Silence. No one remembered redistributing anything. They had simply assumed she would continue. The meeting ended without solutions. The blame began to move. Not upward. Not inward. Sideways. People whispered that Anya had changed, that she was being petty, that she was punishing the team. Punishing. As if refusing unpaid labor was cruelty. A coworker laughed loudly near the coffee machine. Some people can't handle not being needed. Anya stirred her tea slowly. Some people can't handle doing their own work. The laughter died. At home, the cracks widened too. Her cousin showed up unannounced one evening, eyes red, voice sharp. You could have stopped this fight, she accused. Now everyone's angry. Anya opened the door wider. Why is it my job to stop adults from hurting each other? Her cousin scoffed. You always do. Anya shook her head. I always did, because it was easier than saying no. The door closed, gently behind her cousin. For the first time, Anya noticed how often people arrived at her door only when things were breaking. Back at work, desperation began replacing arrogance. Her manager asked for quick favors. Colleagues sent, just checking messages. Someone even brought her coffee. She declined the coffee. It wasn't cruelty, it was clarity. Because kindness offered only when someone stops being useful isn't kindness at all. Then came the mistake that cost real money. A contract was signed with an incorrect clause, one Anya had flagged months ago, but had been mocked for overthinking. The fallout was immediate. Her manager stormed out of a meeting, face pale. By evening, HR requested a discussion. Anya sat across from them, calm, prepared. We've noticed a drop in overall performance. The HR representative began carefully. Anya nodded. So have I. There's a concern that team dynamics have changed. Yes, Anya agreed. They've become visible. The HR rep frowned. Visible. Before, problems were hidden because one person absorbed them. Silence. Her manager shifted uncomfortably. Are you refusing to cooperate? HR asked. Anya met their gaze. I'm refusing to be exploited. The word hung heavy in the air. No one argued. Outside, rumors spread. She thinks she's better than us now. She's sabotaging the team. She's selfish. Selfish. Anya repeated the word in her head as she walked home. For years, she had given everything. Time, energy, emotional labor, respect she never received in return. If reclaiming herself made her selfish, so be it. That night, her phone buzzed with a message she never expected. From her mother. Your father's upset. Things are difficult without you managing everyone. Anya stared at the screen for a long time. Then she typed back. Then let them learn. No anger, no accusation. Just truth. The breaking point came at the end of the month. A major presentation failed publicly. Slides were mismatched. Data conflicted. A senior leader demanded answers. Someone finally said it out loud. This never happened when Anya handled things. The room fell silent. All eyes turned to her. Anya stood up slowly. I didn't handle things, she said. I carried people. Her voice didn't shake. And I'm done carrying those who drop me once they're standing. She walked out before anyone could respond. That was the moment the fear truly set in. Because chaos was no longer a phase. It was a consequence. And for the first time, everyone understood something they had long avoided. They hadn't lost a helper. They had lost the foundation they never bothered to protect. The apologies began softly. Not the kind that admitted guilt. The kind that tested the waters. Anya noticed the shift immediately. People who once ignored her now smiled too brightly. Messages arrived with unnecessary warmth. Compliments appeared where criticism once lived. You've always been so reliable. No one understands the work like you do. We really value your presence. Value. The word felt foreign in their mouths. Her manager requested a casual conversation. He chose a cafe nearby, as if changing the setting might soften the past. You've been missed, he said, stirring his coffee nervously. Things haven't been the same. Anya listened quietly. We realize now how much you contribute, he continued. Maybe we took that for granted. Maybe. Anya tilted her head. Are you apologizing or negotiating? He hesitated. Both. She smiled. That's the problem. At work, her name started appearing again, but differently. Not as a demand. As praise. During a meeting, her manager said loudly, Anya has always been a pillar of this team. She looked up slowly. A week ago, she had been accused of selfishness. Now she was a pillar. Pillars, she realized, are only noticed when they crack. At home, the family's tone shifted too. Her aunt invited her for tea, alone. "We didn't realize how much pressure you were under," she said gently. "You should have told us." Anya set her cup down carefully. "I did," she replied. "You laughed." Silence followed. Her aunt forced a smile. "Families tease." "No," Anya said. "Families protect." The visit ended early. Then came the grand gesture. Her office announced a new role, project coordination lead. The responsibilities were exactly what Anya had always done. The credit was new. Her manager called her in. "This role was designed with you in mind," he said proudly. "Better pay, more visibility." Anya read the offer slowly. "Who suggested this?" she asked. He cleared his throat. "Senior leadership." She nodded. "Because projects failed." He didn't deny it. Anya folded the paper neatly. "You don't want my leadership," she said. "You want my silence back." His smile faltered. The pressure increased. Coworkers approached her quietly. "Please help us. Things are a mess." "Just guide us. You don't have to do everything." "We'll back you this time." This time. Anya heard the desperation beneath the words. She also heard the fear. That without her, their weaknesses were exposed. "I'll help," she said finally. Relief washed over their faces. "But," she continued, "only within my job description, and only with written accountability." The relief faded. That night, she sat alone and reflected. They weren't sorry for hurting her. They were sorry she stopped absorbing the damage. Apologies without change were just another form of manipulation. The final test came unexpectedly. A public town hall meeting, leadership on stage, employees watching. Her manager praised her again, loudly. "We wouldn't be where we are without Anya." Applause followed. Anya stood up. The room stilled. "With respect," she said calmly, "if that were true, I wouldn't have been mocked for years for doing the same work you now applaud." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. "I don't need praise," she continued. "I need fairness." She sat down. No one clapped. But no one laughed either. After that day, people approached her carefully. Not with entitlement. With caution. Because Anya had crossed an invisible line. She could no longer be controlled with guilt, praise, or promises. And deep down, they all understood. The backup plan had learned her worth. And she wasn't stepping back into invisibility again. The most dangerous thing Anya ever did wasn't saying no. It was stopping the need to be understood. Once she let go of explaining herself, everything changed. She stopped waiting for permission. At work, Anya focused strictly on her role. No emotional buffering, no silent corrections, no invisible labor. She documented everything. Emails were clear. Meetings had agendas. Decisions had names attached to them. When someone tried to push extra work onto her, she smiled and said, "Please add that to the task tracker with your approval." They rarely did. Because accountability exposed what dependence never did. Outside the office, she rebuilt her life piece by piece. She joined a weekend writing group, something she'd always wanted but never had time for because someone always needed her. She started evening walks alone, phone on silent. She reconnected with an old friend who remembered her laughter, not just her usefulness. For the first time, her days didn't end in exhaustion. They ended in peace. The family noticed. "Why are you so busy these days?" her mother asked one evening, uneasy. Anya replied gently, "Because my life finally belongs to me." Her mother didn't argue. She couldn't. At work, the power shift became undeniable. Projects were no longer dumped last minute. People hesitated before making jokes. Her manager asked instead of assumed. Not because they respected her kindness, but because they feared losing her competence again. And Anya knew the difference. Then came the test she had been preparing for without realizing it. A competing firm reached out. They had noticed her, not through praise, but through results that couldn't be hidden anymore. The interview felt surreal. They asked about her leadership style. "I believe in clarity," Anya said, "and boundaries." They nodded. A week later, the offer arrived. Better pay. Better title. Better culture. No need to beg. No need to prove. When she submitted her resignation, the office fell silent. Her manager stared at the letter like it was a threat. "You're leaving?" he asked. "Yes. But we just fixed things." Anya met his eyes calmly. "You fixed how it looked," she said, "not how it felt." He opened his mouth, closed it again. The pleas followed quickly. "What will we do without you?" "We can improve." "Name your conditions." Anya listened without reacting. Once, these words would have kept her awake at night. Now they felt distant. "You'll do what you should have done earlier," she replied. "You'll manage." At home, her family reacted with disbelief. "Why would you leave stability?" her father asked. Anya smiled softly. "Because it was never stable for me." Her brother didn't argue. He had learned, finally, how heavy her role had been. On her last day, there was no celebration. Just quiet acknowledgement. As she walked out, someone whispered. She was holding everything together. Anya didn't turn back. Because she wasn't built to be a glue anymore. She was built to be free. That night, sitting in her new apartment, Anya realized something profound. They hadn't lost her when she stopped helping. They lost her when they assumed she would never leave. Anya's life did not explode into happiness the day she left. It settled. And that quiet was more powerful than any celebration. Her new workplace was smaller, calmer. No one shouted across rooms. No one laughed at someone else's expense. People planned. People listened. On her first day, her new manager said something that stayed with her. "If you need help, ask. If you can't take something on, say so. No one here survives by being invisible." Anya nodded, throat tight. For years, she had survived because she was invisible. Now, she was living because she was. Back at her old office, the cracks widened into fractures. Deadlines slipped again. Projects stalled. People argued openly. The role designed for Anya remained empty. No one could fill it, not because they weren't capable, but because they weren't willing to carry what she had carried silently. Her former manager lasted 3 months before being transferred. The team was restructured. For the first time, the cost of exploiting one person became visible on paper. The family reckoning arrived quietly. No dramatic confrontations. No shouting. Just consequences. Her aunt stopped hosting events. No one stepped up. Her cousins' conflicts multiplied without a mediator. Her mother grew tired of smoothing things over alone. One evening, her mother called. Not to complain. To ask. "Were we unfair to you?" she asked softly. Anya paused. "Yes," she replied, "but I forgive you." Her mother cried. Anya didn't. Forgiveness didn't mean returning. Months later, fate arranged one final encounter. A professional conference. Crowded hall. Familiar voices. Her former coworkers spotted her across the room. Surprise flickered, then discomfort, then something like regret. They approached hesitantly. "You look different," someone said. Anya smiled. "I feel different." Her former manager cleared his throat. "We didn't realize how much you did." Anya looked at him, not with anger, not with pride. Just clarity. "I know," she said. "That's why it worked for so long." Silence followed. No defense came. Because there wasn't one. Later that evening, Anya stood alone on a balcony overlooking the city. The same city that once drained her. Now it felt open. She thought of the girl who answered every call, who swallowed every insult, who believed being needed was the same as being valued. That girl had saved everyone but herself. And that was the tragedy. Anja didn't win by humiliating them. She didn't win by proving them wrong publicly. She won by leaving the role they trapped her in. By choosing rest over rescue. Peace over approval. Self-respect over survival. Some people still talked about her. She changed. She became cold. She stopped caring. They were wrong. She had started caring about herself. And that was the one thing they could never control. Anja walked back inside, phone untouched, shoulders light. She was no one's backup plan anymore. She was her own first choice. And this time, no one could take that from her. And thanks for tuning in to Hot Soup Stories. If you love audio stories, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and drop a comment. Your encouragement keeps our stories coming.